Hi everybody, it's Oksana, and today I want to show you how to make this necklace here. It's kind of a sideways wire wrap necklace, and it's got a cord, but you can use, a chain or whatever you want going through it. And I used 3 little citrine beads here. So I'm starting out with 3 pieces of 20 gauge dead soft copper wire. This is bare copper, but you can use, whatever colors you want. And then I'm also using this 26 gauge bare copper weaving wire. And I have 3 little beads here that I'm going to use. They don't have to be round like mine, but this is just what I happen to have. 2 little ones and 1 larger one. Those are citrine. So my wires are about 9 inches, I believe. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go almost in the middle. I'm going to leave myself, nice long tail here and a nice long end here. I'm going to start to weave. Now it's up to you what pattern you do. But the one that I'm going to do, I'm putting my little weaving wire right above this one here. And I'm going to do the 2-2 pattern. So 1, 2 over the bottom 2 wires, and then 1, 2 over the top 2 wires. And then it just repeats, putting it in right here underneath that first one, so I can do 2 loops over the bottom 2 wires, and then bringing it all the way up, so I can do 2 loops, there we go, over the top 2 wires. So I'm going to do this until it is long enough to where I can bend it around the larger bead, and it goes around it on one side, so half the length of this bead. Alright, so once it's looking like it's probably long enough, you can go ahead and bend it in the shape of your bead. And then I'm taking 1 wire from this left side, because the right side is where I have my weaving wire. I'm taking the largest of my 3 beads and I'm placing it onto the wire here. As soon as I can figure out where the hole is. Where is it? Here it is. Alright. And then slide this all the way down. What I'm doing is I'm taking this innermost wire. First, let me just kind of bend it a little more. There we go. And I'm bending this wire to the back. The goal is to bring it through here to the front, but I don't want to have it be super tight. I want to leave like a little loop, kind of like that, I guess. Alright, and then I'm just lining it up with this next wire here, just so they're nice and next to each other. My weaving wire is, let me kind of get it to the front here. So I'm going to weave around these 2 wires now. And I'm going to do the pattern where it's 2 wraps around both wires and then 4 around the bottom. So 1, 2, 3, 4, and then 2. So I'm going to do that until I can bend this and it reaches back to this side. So I'm going to go just like this, but up here. Alright, so now that it's long enough, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to bend it around my bead. And I'm actually going to weave just a tiny bit more on that so it reaches a little further down. Alright, I think that should be close enough. Let's see here. There we go, that's good. I just don't want it to, be the bare wire to be visible. So I'm taking this wire here, the innermost one, and I'm putting it right through this gap here, underneath my bead, like that. And I'm bringing it to the back. So here it is, coming out the back. So I'm leaving that for now. And what I'm doing next is I'm taking my weaving wire. I'm going to weave around these 2 wires here. So I'm going to start by wrapping 2 times around them. And then I'm going to do 4 times around just the bottom wire. So it's the same exact pattern that I'm doing, that I did right up here. And I'm doing this until it goes most of the way around one of my little beads, because I'm going to put one of my little beads here. Alright, so this looks like it's close. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm taking this wire here and I'm putting my bead on that. And then once I have that on there, I'm kind of wrapping this, bringing this wire to the back. I'm just kind of going like this. So now I have this wire here. It's coming out, and what I'm going to do is I'm just going to do some single, let me move this other wire out of the way, just some single coils so that it goes the other half around my smaller bead here. Alright, so once it's long enough, we're going to put it in the back here. We're going to wrap it around our bead like this. There we go. And now coming here to the back, I am lining up these 2 wires that are in the back, and I'm gonna weave around them. Same pattern that I've been doing around 2 wires, where it's 2 wraps around both and then 4 around just the bottom one. And I'm gonna do that until I almost get to the end of my wires. Alright, so I finished off my weaving wire. I did the pattern that I showed you guys all the way till almost the end, and then when there was just a little bit left, I stopped and I just did a few single coils. So here's what we're going to do now. With this tail, I am curling it so that it makes like a little hole like that. Alright, just do it by hand until you're satisfied with how it looks. So I think I'm good with mine now. And what I'm going to do is I am just taking these little ends here and I am just curling them. So that's one end, and then the other I'm bending around it and then curling it the other way. You can use your pliers as well to straighten it all up. So here's what it looks like with this side finished. Alright, so here in the front we have this wire here. What I'm going to do with that is I'm just going to make some decorative little swirls just by bending it by hand like this. And then you could put like little beads on it or something if you'd like. And then I'm just bringing it to the back. Here in the back we have this wire from before. So what I'm going to do is let me just have these switch places. I'm going to bring that wire here across the front. I just need it to like be attached to something because I can't bend it downwards. It's being wrapped around that. And then I'm going to cut it because it's a little too long. I'm just trying to make a little loop just like here, but over here, you know. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to make a little loop at the end of this wire like this. And then I'm going to take this wire and I'm going to put it through that loop. Okay. And then I'm going to move my tools out of the way so my camera doesn't accidentally focus on them. Just making a little loop, just trying to like finish off this wire now. So you can see what it looks like from the front and just adjust it accordingly, but here on the back the most important thing is that you have this little thing here, just like you do on this side. Alright, so now we're going to work on this side here. We have two wires. We have this wire which is coming through the bead, and then this wire on the bottom here which is coming from our weave. So I'm going to take my weaving wire, same one I was working with before, my 26 gauge, I'm putting it through here, and I am doing the same thing that I've been doing, that pattern, the 2-2, and I'm actually going to do pretty much the same thing here that I did on this side. So I'm going to weave for a little bit, the 2 around both and the 4 around the bottom wire. That's the pattern, the same pattern. And once it's long enough to go most of the way around my little bead, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to stop and add my little bead. Alright, so I weaved a little longer than I did on this side. If you want, you can try and get this to mirror and have, you know, identical sides. But I like it when it's asymmetrical and the sides are a little different. So I want this, instead of just going halfway around the bead, I want it to go all the way around. And my bead is actually also slightly different size. It's a little bit smaller. So I'm sliding it in on this uppermost wire. And then I am just curling the wire around it making sure that everything kind of stays underneath here. There we go. Let me kind of fix this. There. So then I have this wire and the second wire here. I'm going to go to the back so I can kind of see them. I'm going to try and get them to line up next to each other as good as I can get it so that I can weave around them. So here's my weaving wire. I'm just going to do a few loose kind of wraps like this just to move it up quickly. Or you can do, you know, regular single coils, but you can't really see the back, so it's not a big deal. So what I'm going to do now is do my pattern again, my 2 and 4 pattern on this for as long as it'll allow me to until I run out of my little wires. These are a little shorter than the other end. Oops. So I'm going to have to do something slightly different. Alright, so I finished that, and then whichever wire was longer, for me it was this one, I did some single coils around it and finished off my weaving wire. So I'm just kind of twisting this a little bit. It's not super crooked. And I'm just going to make like a round little thing like this. Just kind of bend it. And I'm going to take my round nose pliers. I'm going to bend this little end. Make a little loop. And then this one here, let's see. There we go, like that. This one here, I'm going to curl in this way. I mean, this is kind of where you improvise depending on how long the wire is that you have left and all that stuff. So, oops, there we go. Alright, so now my piece is finished and I just have to oxidize it. Alright, so I have oxidized my piece, which is of course optional. You can leave it the way it was before, but I just like this aged kind of look, and I do a video on how to oxidize your jewelry, your bare copper jewelry. Now I'm taking a necklace, and if you have a large clasp or like a large ring, you might want to just temporarily remove that just to make it a little easier to put your necklace through, or chain, whatever you're using. So this is the back of my piece, and we're going through this loop, through the next one, and this one here. Oops. Let me use my pliers to pull that through, and then through here. And this keeps the cord down low behind the bead. If you didn't have these loops here, the cord would just kind of like be up here and be noticeable. So this way you're able to have it on your necklace and have the necklace not be very visible. So that's it. This is my final piece. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye.